Thank you very much, Provost Copper, Chancellor Telfer, faculty, graduates, and guests. It's a great honor to be with you on this special day. It might surprise you to learn that I am standing here because I was a failure. I made a huge mistake many decades ago. I chose the wrong college, and I had a miserable first year. No one in my family had been to college, and there was very little counseling in high school for someone like me. So I was on my own. I knew I wanted to go to college, even if no one else was encouraging me. I also knew that I liked science and had done well in it in high school. So I enrolled at UW-Milwaukee and majored in chemical engineering. Yeah, it was a big mistake. I worked 3 part-time jobs and lived at home. And in a field like engineering, you needed a study group to survive. But I was excluded by my fellow students because they were all fellows. I finally figured out that this was not what I had in mind when I dreamed about going to college. So I transferred here in 1959, and I got a fresh start in my sophomore year, deciding to major in education. It was a wonderful experience during my 3 years here. I still worked part-time, but as you heard from the provost, I was active in many activities here at UW-Whitewater. In short, I was a nobody who became a somebody, thanks in large part to what happened right here on this campus. And that's why it is such a privilege to be back here today and say in this very public forum, thank you. Thank you to UW-Whitewater. A few years ago, I came across an article titled 10 Things Your Commencement Speaker Won't Tell You. Some of the advice was to remind you that your worst days lie ahead. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a very uplifting message during this joyous celebration, but reading beyond the headline, his point was that almost anything worthwhile comes with some periods of doubt and failure, and I think you can see that I'm the poster person for that. The author also advised graduates to, are you ready for this? Read obituaries, since he said they're really short biographies, and they remind us that interesting and successful people really rarely lead orderly lives. And he's right. The dots get connected in very interesting ways if you remain open to possibilities. I'm not going to give you more of his advice, but it did get me thinking about top 10 lists about commencement, and a brief web search reveals quite a few. Top 10 speeches, top 10 inspirational ideas, and so forth. I rejected that idea. In the few minutes that we spend together, I want you to be active listeners. I want you to be thinking about what your UW-Whitewater degree means to you, and more importantly, to your future and ours. What does it mean to have experienced an education characterized by individual development, personal and professional integrity, and a commitment to service, diversity, and global perspectives, all core values at UW-Whitewater? So instead of a top 10 list, I have some questions for you. First, have you thanked everyone who supported you, financially, intellectually, emotionally? That's so obvious, I don't need to elaborate. But spend today giving thanks and reach out to those who have helped you in small ways, as well as to your big-time supporters. Next, how do you approach life? Is your glass half full or half empty? I was fortunate to be raised in a family of can-do people. It's one of the main reasons that I'm here today, because I was taught from an early age that you could do anything if you put your mind to it. That value and the opportunity to earn a college degree, the first in my family, set me on a path that no one could have imagined. No one could have imagined when I was growing up. My pockets were filled in childhood with the coins of optimism, and it's been a joy to spend them throughout my life. Generally speaking, optimists begin with an understanding of what they have and build from there. They start with what is rather than what's missing, and this allows them to see challenges as opportunities, not barriers to success. Next question, do you understand the value of failure? It is a key to success as long as you know that you have to get up after you fall down, learn from your mistake, and move on. I've already told you my story, but I did pick myself up and came to Whitewater, and I guess you can see that it turned out okay. One of my favorite authors, biologist Lewis Thomas, included a beautiful piece called "To Err is Human" in a book of essays he published in the late 1970s. He wrote, "We are at our human finest, dancing with our minds, when there are more choices than two. Sometimes there are 10, even 20 different ways to go, all but one bound to be wrong, and the richness of such selection can lift us onto totally new ground." Mistakes are important. In fact, they're so important that many companies give annual prizes for the best failure. Do you have role models and mentors? You can watch and learn from someone as a role model, even if they're not aware that you're interested. As you build relationships and identify mentors, be sure to push them to give you unvarnished feedback. People yearning to make a difference, to lead through life, are always seeking advice about how to improve. Another question, are you willing to do your homework? We earn our stripes each step of the way, whatever path we choose, and nothing substitutes for the hard work of learning and doing along the way. And there's a very interesting link here to leadership. I think leadership is diffused throughout an organization, and that everyone, no matter where they sit in that organization, has opportunities to step forward and get involved. As Rachel said, you don't have to wait for the promotion or the title. Your education at UW-Whitewater is great preparation to seize leadership opportunities now in your family, your job, your community, your neighborhood, wherever they present themselves. Moving on, do you understand the value of relaxation, of having fun? The goal of stress reduction is obvious, but there is more to it. Recent research on innovation and creativity suggests that stepping away from the problem and doing something relaxing is often the key to a major breakthrough. Here's a quick story that makes the point. A scientist at 3M Company was working on developing new glue and was very frustrated that every glue he developed was too weak. Then one Sunday, pursuing his favorite activity of singing in the choir, he dropped his hymn book, filled with all the little slips of paper marking the songs for that day. At that moment, he realized weak glue has a purpose, and Post-it notes were born. Not thinking about his work made all the difference and was indeed a major breakthrough. Next, do you know the value of we? The term team rolls easily off the tongue, but developing teams is complex and difficult work. You have to understand that it's not about you. Leadership is a partnership through which you discover the best of everyone. Leaders assess the strength of a team and build from there. They work to enhance complementary assets, compensate for gaps, and get results that are more than the sum of the parts. And here's a blockbuster question. Who are you? We all learn from the experiences of others, and you have surely done that here. But you cannot be a copy of someone else. You need to figure out how to be the best you. This involves an important conversation inside your own head, one that focuses on what you're passionate about and how you will make a difference. To be successful, you need to be true to yourself. Whatever path you choose, success requires more than knowledge of a particular field. It requires that investment in self-knowledge. That's the base that allows us to tolerate those occasional mistakes and allows us to engage in some risk-taking. So, equipped with that internal armor of self-knowledge and with the breadth and depth of education you have experienced here, you can go far. And finally, 2 questions designed to send you on your way. Do you have a dream? Whatever the details, I hope it involves living a life of purpose. I've said that everyone can and should take a leadership role in life, and that you will be presented with many opportunities. Leadership is not a position or title, it's not a club, it's for everyone, for the crowd. And leadership is also about followership, and there will be times to embrace that role as well. And finally, what questions do you pose for yourself? Whatever they are, I hope you are not limiting yourself. Leading for life and living with a commitment to be the best of who you are will inevitably involve some improvisation, like good jazz, which a legendary producer once described as giving listeners space to reach their own conclusions. Be open to new possibilities as you stay true to your core belief. Ask questions that enable you to live with purpose and integrity, questions that help you become the best that you can be. Thank you, and congratulations, graduates.